Good afternoon. Straighten myself up a bit there. Thanks for joining me, my daily Facebook Live broadcast. This is number 264, but I'll get to that in a moment. For those of you who have never seen me before, there are people out who haven't apparently. My name is Barry Selby. I am a best-selling author, speaker, and relationship attraction expert, helping strong, successful women find balance in love, life, and business. I'm also a passionate champion of the divine feminine. And I've been addicted to these Facebook Lives, to be blunt. I've been putting these out for now over a year, but for the last several months, I've been doing daily ones. So right now I'm at number 264 in daily Facebook Lives. And today's topic is part of a sequence that started 2 days ago. This is like part 3. So I know, Elle, it's such a shame, but thank you for joining me. I'm glad you're here. Lots of people don't know who I am, that's true. Well, this is helping, I hope. Well, thank you. I'll take that to heart. They should thank you, Al. I really appreciate that feedback. I know you're one of my biggest cheerleaders, so thank you for that. I'm very appreciative. So, this is my daily Facebook Live called Messages from the Masculine to Inspire the Feminine Heart. Primarily focused towards women, but the last few have been focused towards men and bringing women along to the conversation too. And I've been calling it the abdication of men. And the first one was more about the problems that we're facing. Yesterday's was more about, what was this about? Oh, wow. It went out of my head. And let me start with today's and see if I remember what yesterday's was about. Today's is actually in the romantic context, but I'm putting it in the context of leadership versus controlling or pushing. And it's a less than subtle piece of dating advice for men who may have missed something. Yesterday I mentioned, yesterday I did talk about gentlemanly behavior that was missing. And I want to talk about that at some point again. I've done it a while ago, but it's time to bring it back up to date. Because men are forgetting that as part of the application of our role as men, of how to be a gentleman, of being respectful, of being honouring and respecting women. That's right, I talked about the Kingsman yesterday. So now I remember bits of it. But today's is about men. Here's some secret, possibly, keys to help you improve your love life with women. How to be in more healthy appreciation of them, and how to have a more connected relationship with them. So this advice could be helpful to you. So if you're watching this and you are a man, good on you. It's an Aussie term, I know, English. And if you're a woman who wants to show some of her male friends, sorry, my shirt needs to be ironed or something. I try different shirts every day just to see how they look, and sometimes they work and sometimes I judge them. That's me, just to be transparent. So let me get on topic instead of going off topic. One of the ways that men abdicate their role is to be too attached to position and ego. And that's a whole other piece of a conversation I'm not bringing up yet. But in the end of a relationship, what men do is usually go one of two ways, which neither one have worked. And I've done one of them, so I know how personally it doesn't work. One of which is to be the controller. To basically, and to be, assumptive isn't the right word. It's controlling, and it's also being insensitive, for a better way of putting it. And the context is basically when a man goes out with a woman, takes her out, he just basically steamrolls her by just saying, I'm going to do this the way it's going to be, and you're going to go along for the ride. And some women kind of like that, because there's a level of surrendering to that they like. But unfortunately, he's not doing it to include her. He's doing it because it's doing it his own way. The other part is the pushing away. Or I'd say, I'm speaking from my own experience here, so I'm going to frame it not as pretty, but also not as bluntly as I could. In my early dating life, I was definitely played the nice guy role. And not nice guys finish last, but nice guys don't finish, period. Which was the beta male, one way of putting it. And I've shared about this before in my talks. Coming through this paradigm of being more sensitive and acquiescent in a way to a woman's wishes. So I'd basically be the nice guy that would say, whatever you want, honey, here to support you, and be there. Thinking it was the right thing to do because I was being kind and caring to my partner. And every single time, because I experienced with multiple relationships, she would love it initially and then hate it after a period of time. The missing element for men, and there are other men who've done this experience too. I know from many women I've talked to that I'm the only man who did that sort of thing to women. So I guess I'm grateful for that. I'm not as ashamed of it, shall we say, because it wasn't a very happy time in my life to be so confused, which is why I've been in this journey, particularly the last 11 years, and very passionate about what I've learnt, and I want to share it with you. So men, listen up. If you want to be a strong partner with a woman who really respects and appreciates you, you have to earn it, the respect and appreciation. How do you do that? Well, the biggest way is to lead versus control, and it's a big difference. I mentioned control earlier, which is selfish, self-interested, self-satisfying, selfish, as you tell, ego-driven way of doing things. Leading in a relationship is to be dynamically taking your partner with you, but checking in along the way to make sure you're not doing something that would shock, upset, or hurt her. So, for example, going out to restaurants, you may have done a little research beforehand to know what sort of food she does and doesn't like, as in what she will not eat or shouldn't eat or whatever that is. And within that, you have freedom to choose. So you make decisions that include her, not excluding her. And by doing so, you get to let her put her feet up in a way. You get to help her relax into her feminine, but you also make sure you take care of her by doing what you're doing to support her. So leadership versus control is a big part of the shift for men who haven't got this piece yet. It's one of the lessons I learned. It does take self-reliance and self-trust, but it does also take willingness to listen and get feedback, because being in leadership requires learning from people you're leading. And in a relationship, if you're leading your partner to a restaurant or to an experience, you want to make sure that you're course correcting yourself by getting feedback from her along the way. So don't go off like I've done before, where you got one idea in your head and you go off like a bull in a china shop and go zoom off in that direction. And she was going, no, I meant like over here. So it's good to get course corrective feedback, because one of the things that we have as men in our operating system is focus on a goal and go for it. The challenge sometimes is that we don't get feedback along the way, so we miss the target because the goal moved, or we find that we're changing direction without knowing it. So it's vital for us men along the journey of leadership. And this is actually a book, I'm trying to remember which book this comes from, where it's good to get course corrective feedback. So when we're going on course, okay, this is the analogy I'm bringing up. I've talked about this before. So men, this is all about leadership, but let me just take a sidebar for a second. This is actually from a seminar I took years ago, talking about how you take feedback. Did you know that most commercial airplanes and cargo planes are off course, not on course, off course over 90% of the time, something like 95%. The way the planes fly is that they may be going from LA to New York, but they don't fly straight. They tend to fly slightly off course. And then they have course correction along the way through the autopilot, through their guidance systems, to keep getting back on course. So what's happening is, if they're going a straight line towards the goal, which is like there, using the screen as my target, if I'm off course, I'm going to keep missing it and go way off over the side. So the key thing is to get to where I want to go, is to make sure that when I'm going that direction, it's good to get feedback, because feedback will say, okay, off course, okay, let's switch back on course. Off course, oh, let me switch it on course. Drifting off again, back on course. And this is how planes fly. They don't fly a straight line. They actually fly back and forward across that line until they get to the target. That's the way that planes fly. What does it got to do with men leading? I hear you silently asking. It means that for us as men, when we're in leadership, and this is not just in relationships, also in business, one of the best skills of leadership is listening. One of the best skills of leadership is actually gaining insight and feedback from those that you're leading to lead more effectively. So how does that apply to relationships? When you're with your woman, this is speaking about heterosexual relationships, by the way, men, lead the way, but listen. So don't go into going, honey, is this okay? That's not what I mean. That's the way I used to do it and it didn't work. You know, honey, are you okay? Is that all working? That's overkill or over compensating. You can check in and say, you know, is this to your liking? How about this? And you can basically offer up and keep leading and guiding in a way that's healthy, because you're still leading, but you also make sure you include her choices so she gets what she wants as well. That is what I would say is a man who stepped back into his role, into his life, into his love life. So that was the main point, I guess, of this one. I was just seeing if there's any other pieces that I want to put into that. The bottom line is, there's a lot of men who abdicated this role. So that's why this is number 3 in the series of talking about men in the abdication of men. And this one is about how men can step back up again. This is part of the awakened masculine that I talk about a lot in my work, actually more and more. And it's vital for men who are watching this to take this to heart. Ladies, if you know any men who should watch this, please share it with them. And ladies, hopefully you have a man in your life who does this, because you'll be a much happier woman in the process. I think that's about it. That was a quick one, I guess. Just checking my handy clock. In case you haven't watched my broadcasts before, by the way, these are usually around about 10-15 minutes. I want to give you bite-sized chunks of insight, inspiration, and knowledge. If you have any questions or comments about this particular broadcast, please put them below. Feel free to put your comments and questions below. And if you have any questions about your own experience in love and relationships, you want help, please message me over social media or go to my website, which is barryselby.com. You click on the Let's Chat button and go from there. That's where also, by the way, all these broadcasts will end up. So I put them onto YouTube, so you can watch them on the YouTube channel, which is Barry Selby. Click on the Messages from the Masculine playlist. Or you can watch them on my website, which they end up as well. Again, barryselby.com. Click on the video blog, which is where these end up. Or just on my business page on Facebook, which is barryselby.author. My name is kind of in everything, because that's where I learned how to do this. Try this on for size. If you're a woman, see what men you can educate on this, and maybe have them step into their leadership. You might find yourself really enjoying the experience. Gents, try this out for yourself. You might be pleasantly surprised. Actually, I'm sure you will be. With that, thank you for watching my broadcast as always. Feel free to share this out as I mentioned. And take this to heart. You are deserving of the best in relationship. You're deserving of the best in life. Love yourself so you can actually receive it. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you again tomorrow.